Again, congratulations to all of our collaborators on Melt. Thank you so much for helping bring that story to life. Yay. Well, let me tell you what we're going to do next. So about 2 years ago now, we started this monthly film forum, and it meets currently on the third Saturdays of the month, but we all get together, we watch a full feature film, and then we discuss that movie afterwards. So today we're going to have a little bit of a film forum of our own, some kind of an experience like that. What we're going to do is we're going to break off into smaller groups of maybe 4 to 6. And so I'll pose a question, and then I'll give you a few minutes to respond to that question, to discuss amongst yourselves. So before we start, let me give you a few parameters for how to have that conversation. As best as you can, try to stick with I statements. I feel this way. I've experienced X. What you want to try to avoid are statements like, those people do X, or them people are like this. Make sense? So with that in mind, let's get into groups of 4 to 6 now, and then ask each other this question. What were some of your favorite lines or moments from the movie? It's pretty simple, right? Okay. Go ahead. Great, so here's another one. Out of all the characters you saw, which character reminds you most of yourself? Okay, go. Okay, now going back to just before we saw the movie, I shared these 3 different proverbs with you, so let's go over them again. So, if heaven made him, earth can find use for him, and then bloom where you're planted, and a thick bankroll is no help when life falls apart, but a principled life can stand up to the worst. And then I mentioned this line on the Melt poster, if everything that defined you were suddenly gone, who would you become? So in your groups, we're going to ask 2 questions this go around. So first ask yourselves, what do these proverbs mean for you? What do they mean for you? And then also, just start to ask each other and ask of yourselves, what would I say defines me now that I think about it? Okay, go. Great, so how's it going? Good? Were any of you surprised about your reaction to one or more of your answers? Right? Well, about 8 years ago now, I sat in a room with a bunch of people, and this question came up. Somebody asked, where do you get your security, meaning, and greatness from? And that got me to think a little bit. As I started to think about that, I went home and I realized, the answer that I had in that moment is bothering me. Because as I thought about it, I thought, I've made a lot of good, respectable choices in my life. But in the end, somehow I'm starting to realize they're not satisfying the hunger for life that I actually have. They were perfectly good choices, but they were like somebody else's dream or something. And so I changed a lot of things. So my encouragement to you today would be to not stop experiencing this film when you walk out the door, but to keep experiencing this film as you leave here. Because you might have a similar story to mine. Maybe you won't fully realize the implications of what this movie means for you today. Maybe you'll understand a little bit more tomorrow, and then in a few days, and in a month, and maybe in a year, and maybe in several years. So thanks for coming. Before you go, we're actually going to ask one more question in our groups. So just get together one more time and ask yourselves this. What do I think I'm going to leave here thinking more about? Okay, go.